If you're thinking about moving towards the center of the country, no doubt you are looking at Austin, Texas. But have you considered Oklahoma City? I'm Natalie Bratton with RE/MAX First, and this is Oklahoma City versus Austin, Texas. For all of you out there on the East and West Coast who are thinking about moving to a more central location, I bet you're looking at places all over Texas and maybe Oklahoma City or Tulsa. And so this is a video series, Oklahoma City versus. And today this is my second installment, Oklahoma City versus Austin, Texas. So let's get started. Number one in Austin, Texas versus Oklahoma City is the population. Oklahoma City has between 629 to 650,000 people spread out over 600 square miles of land, where Austin is half the size of Oklahoma City, but has 916,000 people. So Austin's creeping up on 1 million people, but in half the space of Oklahoma City. So the population density of Austin is like 88% higher than it is in Oklahoma City. So while Austin is a cool place to be, if you want to spread out, if you don't like crowds, and if you don't like traffic, you would prefer Oklahoma City over Austin. Number two, let's talk weather. So Oklahoma City is 330 miles north of Austin, but we also have a higher elevation here, where Austin is like 489 square feet above sea level. Oklahoma City is 1,100 feet over sea level. So whatever the temperature is in Austin, it is going to be a little bit cooler in Oklahoma City. 3 to 5 degrees is probably it. But as far as regular climate, it's pretty similar. Mostly sunny, all 4 seasons, but typically in Oklahoma City, the temperature will be just a little bit lower day in and day out. Number 3, when it comes to race and ethnicity, we're not that different. Oklahoma City is 54% Caucasian, white, and Austin is 48.6% white. So we're looking at about a 6% difference, which is, not that different. Number 4, let's talk cost of living. So the cost of living in Oklahoma City is 28 to 30% less than it is in Austin. So basically anything you're going to spend money on is going to be significantly less expensive in Oklahoma City, except for healthcare. For some reason in Oklahoma, we spend more money on healthcare than they do in Texas. Not sure why or really how much, but groceries, everyday expenses, 28 to 30% less expensive than it is in Austin. In addition to the cost of living, housing prices are 30% less in Oklahoma City. So if you're looking for real estate where you get a bang for your buck, you're going to be able to get a lot more house, 30% more house in Oklahoma City than you are in Austin, Texas. Now, if you live in Austin, Texas, you're going to have a higher income than you would if you live in Oklahoma City. That is, if you are actually employed by a company in Austin. Incomes are about 8% higher in Austin than they are in Oklahoma City. And one benefit of being in Texas is Texas does not charge state income tax, but Oklahoma charges 5% income tax. So even though Austin is more expensive than Oklahoma City, you should have a slightly higher income and get the benefit of no state income taxes. Number 6. So Austin is famous for their music scene, their art and culture. Austin is a great place to visit and go listen to live music. It's a great place to go for a long weekend. Go to Austin City Limits. If you want to, see art. Austin has more theaters and more cinemas than Oklahoma City does. Now, Oklahoma City has a growing, thriving music and art scene. It just is not the same as Austin. Number 7, let's talk education. Well, if you saw my video about Oklahoma City versus Dallas, you may recall that in general, the state of Texas spends more money on public education than Oklahoma does. In Texas, they spend more money per student than Oklahoma does. And they also have smaller class sizes than Oklahoma. And they pay their teachers more than they do in Oklahoma. However, both states, both towns, Oklahoma City and Austin, have really good school districts with amazing teachers and staff, and they do a great job. So if you're looking for schools, if that's a big deal to you, just do your research before you visit and before you move. Universities, well, Oklahoma City has 20 universities, where Austin only has 13. Now, I will note that the University of Texas is in Austin. But who wants to wear burnt orange all the time? Number 8, Oklahoma City has twice as many square miles as Austin in water. If you like a pretty lake view, ponds, rivers, you like to go boating, Oklahoma City has over 14 square miles of water, and Austin only has 6. Number 9 is military retirement. Oklahoma City is one of the best places to live if you are former military. So the state of Oklahoma offers more benefits for former military than just about any other state. So if you have a military retirement, this is a great place to move. You get tax breaks and discounts on just about everything. So for number 10, I'm just gonna rapid fire a few great things for you. Oklahoma City's been voted one of the most manliest cities, whatever that means. I'm not sure, but if that's important to you, we're apparently pretty manly here. Both cities have rising incomes. The Austin unemployment rate is slightly lower than Oklahoma City's, but both are considered good job markets, good places to start a business. Both have good projected job growth. Both places are considered high risk for people with allergies. So again, if you live in Oklahoma City or Austin, you will definitely need your Claritin and Alivert. Recently, I read an article in the Wall Street Journal about a business owner in California who decided this past year to pick up and move his entire company, and he moved to Austin, Texas. And he chose Austin because he figured it mirrored the lifestyle of LA more than any other place in this part of the country. He now says he regrets that decision, and it's not because Austin isn't a great town, but the main reason he regrets picking up and moving his entire company to Austin was because he didn't get the bang for his buck that he expected. So while Austin's a great place, financially, it ended up not being that big of a difference for him on his bottom line because the change wasn't big enough. So if you're moving a business to either Texas or Oklahoma, be sure and weigh all the finances and look at all of these parameters before you choose where you're going to go. Thanks for listening. If you feel like Oklahoma City might be an option for you in your future, be sure and subscribe to my channel, and I post a video every week. Also check out my website and get in touch with me, and I'd love to talk to you about Oklahoma City, and I'd love to help you find a home in Oklahoma City real estate. Come back next week where I keep it local. Next week we're going to do the place of my birth, Oklahoma City versus Tulsa.